Part 1. Yes, I have. Es- Especially whenever I take a stroll near the heart of the city. There are many old squatter areas there, which dates back from the time when French troops invaded our borderland. Question 2. Well, I think it depends on the management strategies of the government with these old buildings. On the one hand, there are some we need to preserve because they are the remnants from the past, which can help us to broaden our horizons in history. But on the other hand, there are also others which have degraded over time and need to be renovated or even rebuilt. Question 3. Definitely living in a modern house because there I see that older needs are served well. But to the time when I was a kid, I and my family had to live in an old building. So we saw that there was a there was a series of inconveniences for us, especially when it comes to going to the toilet or taking a showers because we just have one shared bathroom for around 10 households. Question 4. Well, my profession is not history, so at the moment I do not have the need to explore any old buildings. But in the long run, if I want to broaden my horizons in history, I will consider it. But now, if you force me to name a certain old buildings, I could not do it. But 2. When it comes to the home of a person that I know very well, the home of my younger uncle is the very first house coming to my mind. To begin with, my uncle's family just moved to this place after more than a decade living near the suburb of Hanoi. His newly built house is a detached house located at the heart of the city, where it takes just 5 minutes of driving a motorbike to reach Wan Kim Lake. More often than not, I pay a visit to his house twice a month because this is the place where my grandparents live. Sometimes even more if we have special occasions like holidays or if I have more leisure time. At first glance, I thought it cost my uncle a fortune because of the large areas as well as lavish furniture inside his hall. And there's a thing that truly made me instantly amazed, which is a garden surrounding his house. Honestly, I always want to have a garden inside my house because it's an ideal place for me not only to let off steam but also helps me immerse myself in nature. Besides, I am an animal lover, so I can raise pets like dogs or cats there, I think. Part 3, Question 1. Drawing on my experience of living both in urban areas as well as suburban areas, I think there are two primary differences between buildings in these places. The first one lies in the area of each house. More often than not, houses in cities are quite small, with just 50 or 60 square meters, compared to the countryside where the area is usually around 100 or even 200 square meters. This can be explained by the prohibitively high price of real estate in metropolises. The second distinction is the garden and other facilities. Accommodations in the countryside are usually filled with gardens or even a pond, but it's not the thing that happens regularly in big cities because city dwellers could hardly have enough space as well as financial condition to afford to build a garden or other facilities inside their houses. Question 2, part 3. Definitely the city, and there are two reasons explaining why it's an ideal place for me to live. The first facet is the electric atmosphere cities bring. For example, whenever I finish my work late and come back home at 10 p.m., I still see lots of people on the street, and honestly, just observing them helps me energize myself. The second aspect, I think, lies in the career prospects. Cities are the place where many behemoths locate their headquarters, so it's quite easy for city dwellers to get a well-paid job and improve their living conditions. Question 3. While with this question, I want to emphasize the risks coming from fire, especially with mini apartments. For example, recently there was a fire from an apartment near my house which claimed the lives of 56 people and injured hundreds of others. Despite many endeavors to compensate the families of the deceased for their losses, the consequences left behind was still extremely severe. Therefore, I think that builders of mini apartments as well as residents need to consider this issue carefully in order to mitigate the fire risks as much as possible. Question 4, part 3. This is really an intriguing question for me as I'm not really into decorating my house, but I would say that it depends on the type of decoration. For example, if people want to decorate their house simply with stickers or some other tools for holidays like Christmas or Lunar New Year, it's affordable because these tools are quite cheap and ubiquitous. But with people who want to adorn their houses with top-notch furniture or lavish items like a big TV, an aquarium, or a big tree, the costs they have to invest are extremely expensive. For instance, I know some Thai TV costs even more than 100 million Vietnam dong.